You are not losing your mind. You're giving it away. One sip at a time. One night at a time. One excuse at a time. And you don't even see it. That is the most dangerous part. Not the hangover. Not the shame. Not the money or the mornings you've buried under blankets of regret. The most dangerous part is that you believe you are still in control. You believe the drink is a visitor, a guest you invite for an evening and escort out by morning. But the guest has been renovating your mind while you slept. And you didn't notice because the changes were subtle. A little less focus here. A little more anxiety there. A memory that used to be sharp, now soft at the edges. A drive that used to burn, now a flicker. This is not aging. This is erosion. And the molecule doing the eroding has convinced you it is your friend. Let me show you what is actually happening inside your skull. Not the biology you've heard before. The reality they don't put in the pamphlets. Every time you drink, you're not relaxing. You're performing a targeted strike on your prefrontal cortex. That is the part of your brain that makes you you. Your judgment, your foresight, your ability to say no to what hurts you and yes to what builds you. Alcohol does not loosen you up. It disables your CEO. And when the CEO leaves the building, who sits in the chair? Not your true self. Something else. Something that runs on impulse instead of intention. Something that confuses volume for truth and repetition for conviction. Something that will say things you would never say and do things you would never do, and then leave you to wake up in the wreckage with no memory of how the crash happened. Pattern interrupt. You think drinking reveals who you really are. It does not. It reveals who you become when your highest functions are turned off. That is not authenticity. That is amputation. Now let's go deeper. Because the damage does not end when the hangover fades. That is the lie of back to normal. Your brain does not reset overnight. The neural pathways you strengthen with every drink become the default roads your thoughts travel. Repeat a behavior enough times, and your brain builds a highway for it. A smooth, efficient, almost automatic path from trigger to response. You stop choosing to drink. The highway chooses for you. A stressful day, a social obligation, a quiet evening alone. The highway lights up. Your hand reaches. Your throat swallows. Your mind numbs. And you call this a decision. It is not a decision. It is a program, running on hardware you allowed to be rewired. And here's what that program is stealing from you. First, it steals your memory. Not just the blackouts. The slow erosion of your personal timeline. You try to remember last year. It is fog. You try to recall a conversation from 3 days ago. Gone. You're living a life that is happening to a stranger, and you are reading about it secondhand. Pattern interrupt. You are not forgetful. You are fragmented. Second, it steals your presence. You are at dinner, but your mind is somewhere else. You are with your children, but your attention is dulled. You are in a conversation, but you're already rehearsing the next drink. You're a ghost in your own life. Visible, but not there. Third, it steals your future. This is the one almost no one talks about. The hippocampus does not only store your past. It imagines your tomorrow. When you damage it with alcohol, you are not just losing memories. You're losing the ability to picture a future that excites you. You don't lack ambition. You lack the neurological hardware to feel your ambition as real. Your dreams become words on a page. Your goals become chores. Your future becomes a gray hallway you walk through without curiosity. And you wonder why you feel stuck. This is not a moral failure. This is a biological hijacking. And the hijacker is so ancient, so socially embedded, so woven into the fabric of celebration and coping and normalcy that you have never once looked at it and said, "This is an enemy." You toast with it. You laugh with it. You bond with it. And in silence, it eats your potential. Pattern interrupt. What if alcohol is not a drink? What if it is a technology designed to keep you from asking the one question that would set you free? Here is that question. What would you become if you stopped numbing the very feelings that are trying to tell you something? Anxiety is not your enemy. It is your internal alarm system telling you something in your life is misaligned. Depression is not a chemical error. It is a deep signal that something needs to change. Restlessness is not a problem to solve with sedation. It is the voice of your soul demanding expansion. But you have been trained to silence that voice. With a drink. With a screen. with another distraction. You have been trained to treat the symptom and ignore the cause. And the cause is screaming at you. Your life is not working. Not because you are broken, because you are living someone else's version of success. Working someone else's hours. Wanting someone else's things. Drinking someone else's permission to tolerate a life you never actually chose. And the molecule in your glass is the glue that holds that false life together. Remove the glue, and the whole structure shakes. That shaking is not a crisis. It is an opportunity. It is the first honest feeling you have had in years. But you will not feel it if you keep numbing. You cannot rebuild on a foundation of fog. So here is the truth they will never put in a commercial. You're not drinking because you are weak. You are drinking because you're sensitive. Because you feel things deeply. Because the world is loud and harsh and demanding, and you have never been taught how to hold that weight without anesthesia. You were taught to drink, not by a devil with horns, by a culture that has no other answer for pain. But you're not a child anymore, and you are not a machine, and you are not a consumer of moments you will never remember. You're a consciousness, a spark, a potential that has been sedated for so long it has forgotten its own heat. The alcohol is not your problem. It is your solution to a problem you have not yet named. Name it. What are you running from? What are you afraid to feel? What would rise to the surface if you sat in silence for 1 hour with no drink, no screen, no noise? That thing, that unnamed thing, that is the real enemy. The alcohol is just its bodyguard, and you have been paying the bodyguard to keep you away from the truth. Stop paying. Not because you should be ashamed, because you deserve to meet yourself, the real self, the one who laughs without a trigger, who cries without a hangover, who dreams without a deadline, who loves without a filter. That person is still in there, buried under years of good intentions and bad chemistry, but not gone. You feel them sometimes, in a moment of stillness, in a flash of anger at the life you are settling for, in the quiet before sleep when the masks fall off and you whisper to yourself, "This is not what I wanted." That whisper is your soul, and it has been trying to reach you for years. The alcohol is not the only thing in the way, but it is the lock on the door, and you have the key. You always had the key. It is not willpower. It is not a 30-day challenge. It is not another system or app or promise you will break by Friday. The key is a single decision, made not with your lips, made with your spine, the decision that you are done outsourcing your consciousness, that you will feel everything, the good and the terrible, that you will stop running and start standing, that you will disappoint people who only like the diluted version of you, that you will sit in the discomfort of becoming someone new, and you will not drink, not because you are depriving yourself, because you are finally giving yourself something. Your mind, clear, your presence, undivided, your future, yours. The bottle has taken enough. It has taken evenings you will never get back, words you cannot unsay, trust you spent years building and seconds shattering. It has taken the edge off a life that was never supposed to have its edges removed. Edges are where you grip. Edges are where you hold on. Edges are what keep you from sliding into the gray. You have been sliding. Stop. Stand up. Look at the person beside you in the mirror. The one with the tired eyes and the good heart and the unrealized potential. Look at them and say it. Not tomorrow. Not Monday. Not after this weekend. Now. I am done giving my mind to a molecule. I am done trading my presence for a promise of peace that never comes. I am done waking up next to a stranger and calling it fun. I'm coming back. Slowly. Imperfectly. But really, I am coming back. And I am never leaving again. That is not a resolution. That is a resurrection. The mind they told you was broken was never broken. It was borrowed. And you have been paying interest on a debt you never owed. Stop paying. Take it back. The drink is not your friend. It was never your friend. You are.